Alright everybody, what's up and welcome to your reading for the full moon in Pisces happening on the 30th of August and the 31st in the Southern Hemisphere. My name is Kate, I'm Indigo Instinct Healing. If you are new to this channel, welcome and please subscribe or like the video to help these videos continue to be seen. The full moon in Pisces is a super moon, so the moon is relatively close to the earth at this time in terms of its axis. And it's also a blue moon, and so that means it's the second full moon in the same month, and so the energy at this time can be particularly charged. But I wanted to highlight that it's more so that it's the Piscean energy that is charging this full moon. And if you've been following my videos for a while, you'll notice that I've talked about the Piscean energy being really present in this sort of undercurrent of our lives and our path and patterns for the past little while. And what I mean by that is this energy of paying attention to what is in the subconscious. And so paying attention to dreams or to spontaneous thoughts and to triggers as well, what triggers us, but those can be a little bit stickier to unravel. But really in particular, paying attention to our dreams, both at night and what we dream of, as a map for our path and purpose going forwards. And so if you don't always already have a practice of recording your dreams, I would highly, highly recommend it at this time, especially with the full moon in Pisces coming up, to just keep a pen and paper or a notebook and pen by your bed and to record your dreams as best you can as soon as you wake up. Not try to make sense of them, but just really record. And then go back. I often go back when I'm going to sleep and I read my dreams from the night before, and they make a lot more sense. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because we're on this trajectory of changing the subconscious pathway and the collective frequency of manifestation, this sort of larger track that we're on as the collective. We're very much on our way to shifting that record needle into a new direction. And I got into this conversation with someone the other day about how the focus on language is going to shift from the words that we use to the tonality and the frequency of our voices and the way we deliver words. And if you are a business coach or you work with a lot of people, you know this already, that it's not what we say, it's how we say it, it's how we deliver it. And so this is all speaking to this greater change that we're making, this shift in collective consciousness from what is covered to what is uncovered. And so if you want to be in amidst the flow a little bit better and to not be caught so by surprise, take a look at your dreams and start to look inward at the subconscious to pick apart or sort of sift through what is going on for you so that you're not caught in this jumble of life going by and wondering why you're doing the things that you're doing or why you're attracting the lessons you're attracting or what you're really headed towards in general. For many of us, we all have very specific soul missions, and so being able to understand what is going on in the subconscious muck and that subconscious cloudiness can really help us uncover some truth and some sense to our path and purpose. And if you want to learn more about your particular path and purpose, especially if you feel like you don't really know why you're here or what your purpose is, you feel a little bit lost on the planet, or you don't really feel like you've ever fit in, book a private reading with me. That is what I focus on. I focus on helping starseeds uncover and find their truth through their path and purpose and their soul's mission. And so book a private reading with me. I am going to be working on a group course coming into the winter, but for now, private readings is where it's at. So check it out if you would like to book with me. You can just drop me an email or a message on Instagram. Both of those handles are in the description box below. So getting to the reading here. And I'm just getting this strong channeled message of to be very mindful of what you see in front of you compared to what you know you're after or what you're looking for. Because right now we're in a place where it's going to be very easy to be distracted by things that put themselves in front of our consciousness. As a personal example, I have this opportunity to acquire a nice bicycle, and it's very attractive. It's a very beautiful bike. I've never had a brand new bike like this before. It would feel very empowering to have it. But my dreams and my soul purpose is more focused on music. And so if I want to be following my soul's purpose, I need to be selective about how I use my energy, time, and money towards putting it in a musical trajectory, or focusing in the musical sense, acquiring a piano, spending time with people who play music, focusing my energy there instead of focusing my energy literally in front of this new shiny object that's coming my way. And so coming to the end of summer for those of us in the Northern Hemisphere, and as we emerge out of winter for those of you in the Southern Hemisphere, be really mindful of the shiny objects. There's a very beautiful story adage about magpies, and I mean this is true in natural reality, that they're attracted to shiny objects, and as humans we really get distracted in this sense. And so even if you need to write down, this is a practice I do for myself, write down what it is you want and refer to that list. Is this aligned with my values? Is this aligned with what I want? Or is this really tempting in the moment and I'm leaping at it for that reason? Because as we move forwards into September and especially October, if you haven't been able to choose what is right for you, and you've been choosing to be in the group instead of what is in alignment for yourself, you're going to be really uncomfortable come fall. So just be brave and courageous and take the steps that you need to personally, and know that if this line is feeling unsure because this is where your friends are, if your friends care about you, they will be with you no matter what. Or if the person you're with or relationship or whatever it is, if that matters in the greater scheme, and if it is a true relationship, then it's not going to be dependent on whether you choose the same things. So really choosing what is right for you in the next 3 to 6 weeks is pivotal. All right. Yeah, okay, so especially with our approaching the end of summer, we still have some nice weather coming up. We still have some time before we turn towards the darkness and that inward time approaches. But as we're in this really heightened time of people trying to get everything done, trying to get their last trips in before summer's over, or their last bang, or whatever it is, that last sort of firecracker, if you can, your mission is to embody this behind the scenes master of grace instead. And for many of you, this is going to be a return to self. You know how to do this. You know how to move quietly and to step back and to be behind the scenes and be within the shadows in order to make things happen for yourself, and just not to be so upfront about stuff. And for others, this is going to be a radical choice that you make. A radical choice to pull back and take care of your needs and yourself instead of being in the center of it all. But really embodying this concept of air and water and grace, and being fluid in the sense that you're not in amongst the landslide of rocks that are all trying to tumble to the bottom before summer's over. Allow yourself to pull back, to get a broader scope of focus, and to lean into the grace that comes with embodying the quieter aspects of the shadows and the details of your life. And when I say shadows, I don't mean in a darkness sense. I mean in a removed sense, in a quieter, separate from front and center sense. So see if you can practice embodying that. And that it takes skill and it takes practice. So for those of you who like the gold star, see this as a challenge. How graceful can I be? How kind and precise can I be in the way that I move through life in the next few weeks? Okay, this next card is about relationship. And so anytime I mention relationship, I don't necessarily mean romantic. I just mean anyone you are in relation with. Often this can mean relation with those who are in your inner circle, or somebody will come to mind as soon as I either hold up the card or mention the word relationship. So if you're wondering about this particular relationship that you're working with right now, it's important to remember that through all the resistance and through the niggly, awkward parts, this is a relationship that is based in deep history with yourself through lifetimes. And, you drew the short or lucky straw of being born in this generation, in this lifetime, and you are clearing the decks for all the other lifetimes, and for many of us also all of our other generations, for our family members that came before us. And so this stickiness that you're experiencing in this particular relationship right now is because it has come from an ancient series of relationships that have come before it. And so when you're on the ground and when you're in the 3D, if you can remind yourself and pull yourself upwards into the sky, onto the eagle's perch, and remind yourself that this is an ancient relationship, that you have been here before, that you have fought these struggles before, that you have had this argument before, and bring a lightness to it. Laugh in the face of danger, make it small by bringing humor and light to it, and remind yourself that you are the person who is making the change in this relationship this time around. It's not going to wait for another generation. It's not going to continue to drive you nuts moving forwards. It does end with you. And so can you make the conflict in this relationship smaller by remembering two things? That this relationship is a challenge that has presented itself many times before. And so by clearing it, you are clearing all of that excess from previous generations and versions of yourself. And that you know how to navigate it because you've pretty much done it wrong every other time. And so this is the time to try a new approach. And for most of you, what's coming through is that laughter and lightness and making it not such a big deal is going to be the way to go. And I know for many of you that's going to feel super uncomfortable and not at all like the way forwards, but I assure you that taking the path that you have not yet traveled in this approach and this relationship will be the way through, because we really want to close this loop for good, right? We don't want to repeat this again. Okay, beautiful personal relationship card. This is for the inner you, for your own journey and your own personal path and process right now. You are in a very new, or you're on the cusp of being in a very new state of mind with yourself. And for many of you, this is going to mean in the physical. So you might find yourself in a new job. You might find yourself in a new place or location, a new home, maybe a new neighborhood that you never expected yourself to move to. But allow yourself to be so incredibly curious and excited and inquisitive about these new experiences. For some of you, this is just going to be as simple as choosing a different place to sit while you're working, or taking a new class, or getting back to bring it back to the bicycle, to getting back on a bicycle that you haven't ridden in a long time. So for some of you, it's going to be a little more abstract, but whatever you're faced with that feels new to you, allow yourself to be so gentle, but so curious and inquisitive about what this is going to bring for you. Because for many of you, it's going to be incredibly fun and beautiful and joyous and has more opportunity than you really could have ever imagined. but you have to allow for that space in the playing field for all those opportunities to present itself. If you go in with this closed and decided mindset of what you think is going to happen, it's really not leaving the space for all of these opportunities to come from the outside. And so be really curious, be really excited, pretend like you're a little kid that's doing something new that they've always wanted to do, and you don't know how it's going to go and you don't know what it's going to look like, but it really has this incredible opportunity for growth. And the vision is just providing me with like all of these colors and opportunities and happiness and expansion. And so allow yourself to be curious in nature through this change instead of resistant, because this really isn't meant to be a difficult transition. It's just one that was unexpected. I'm going to pull an animal card here. Yeah, okay. I mean, this is on the same vein, really. And for many of you, it's more going to be about an internal turmoil that you've been dealing with. So less about the physical and more about this sense of self. But we got this very complex common tortoise card that says steady on. And you can see the little home at the top there. And this is really about allowing the next couple of weeks to let the chips fall where they may. And that means that for many of you who are doing the work, most of you who are listening to these readings are doing the work. So pretty much for all of you listening to this right now, give yourself some time and peace to integrate the lessons you've learned over the past 3 months. You do not need to keep working and to keep picking at this scab that has been created through clearing out all of the junk or all of the past lessons that you've had to deal with in the last cycle. When we allow ourselves to integrate, we're able to create a deeper and safer home within ourselves and a more consistent foundation from which to move through or move from. And so I know it can be super uncomfortable, especially for the doers. I am one of those people, to allow the chips to fall where they may. But you really, really, really are being encouraged to just let the dust settle a little bit. And once the end of September hits, once we already go through the new moon and once we get closer to October, then sure, start thinking about things that you want to be doing again, or new techniques or new integrations or whatever. But you need to allow yourself to let the stitches close and weave together as you integrate these lessons into your life to be able to move forwards in a more holistic sense. We want ourselves to be whole, holistic beings and not cobbled parts. And when we allow ourselves to integrate and allow those things to settle within us, we create a more space for comfort within the body instead of trying to integrate this thing or bring it along with us and it doesn't really have space and we're still kind of clearing something else out, and then we're going to jump into doing a fast and dealing with more internal work, or we're going to try this different thing or start this new activity or whatever. It can feel boring for those of you who really feel like they need to be doing something, or especially for those of you who feel like you've been on a longer path of doing the same thing. Just give yourself 4 weeks. Give yourself until the 3rd week of September and see if you feel a little different and maybe a little more ready to take the next step or the new step into that direction that you're thinking of. I was going to say something else, but I lost it. Really, that's all it is, though, is integration. Oh, nervous systems. Often for many of us, our nervous systems are so used to being unsafe that as soon as we start to feel like we're integrating stuff, we're like, this is boring. I wonder if there's a threat. I feel like I should do something else just to make sure that I'm still on the go. And that is just a response. And if we can ground through that experience, we are going to create a more stable foundation to allow ourselves to integrate more and to accept more joy, more laughter, more success, more harmony, more love than we're used to in the past. So it's going to feel a little uncomfortable. And the key word here is it's going to feel boring. But just give yourself, mark it on your calendar if you want, give yourself 4 weeks to integrate, and then you can think about changing things up. So that is all I have for you folks today. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate your presence. Please like the video if you were watching, or subscribe to the channel. Hit the little notification bell so you know when these videos come out. If you're on Instagram, thanks for being here. I don't usually post to Instagram anymore, but most of my community that listens to these is on YouTube. And so anybody who follows me on Instagram, I would love for you to come over to YouTube. But this recording was on my phone, and so I'm posting to both platforms. Keep an eye out for the course coming in the winter and the book that I am still working on. And blessings to all of you, and hope to see you soon. Take care.